The message arrived while I was crouched behind a crumbling wall, dust coating my throat, the echo of gunfire still ringing in my ears. 3 seconds of calm and 18 hours of chaos. Just enough time to check my satellite phone. Consider this your freedom, soldier. I've upgraded. Below it, a photo. My bedroom. Our bedroom. Emily sprawled across our marriage bed, a young man's tattooed arm draped across her bare shoulder. My medals visible on the nightstand, deliberately placed in frame. I didn't have time to process it. Incoming fire erupted, and instinct took over. Later, they said I saved 4 men that day. I don't remember. I only remember the photo, seared into my brain like a brand. That night, as my unit finally rested, I scrolled through Emily's social media. Post after post, video after video. "The invisible husband," she called me, laughing as she and her lover, Liam, her gym trainer, dumped my uniforms into trash bags. In another, she held up my silver star, my purple heart, medals I'd bled for. "Participation trophies," she giggled, before dropping them into a waste bin while Liam filmed. 10 years of marriage, erased with a text message and an Instagram story. My commanding officer found me staring at my phone, motionless. "You good, Miller?" I looked up, my face a mask of calm I didn't feel. "Yes, sir. Just received some intelligence from home." He nodded, understanding in his eyes. He'd seen it before. "Whatever it is, compartmentalize. Deal with it later. Right now, your brothers need you present." I nodded, slipping the phone away. "Already handled, sir." And in a way, it was. Because what Emily didn't know, what she couldn't have imagined, was that I'd been preparing for war my entire life, and war had just come home. I met Emily during my second tour. I was 25, already a staff sergeant with the Rangers, home recovering from a shoulder wound. She worked at the hospital where I did physical therapy, a civilian administrative assistant with laughing eyes and a smile that made me forget the pain. "You military boys," she'd said the first time we spoke. "Always so serious." "Ma'am, when you've seen what I've seen, serious becomes your default setting." She'd leaned in, her perfume like a promise. "Then maybe you need someone to help you find a new setting." 6 months later, we were married. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. My battle buddies stood beside me, and Emily glowed in a simple white dress that still haunts my dreams. "I'll always be your safe harbor," she'd whispered during our vows. "Your home will always be with me." I believed her. God help me. I believed her with every fiber of my being. For 8 years, we built a life. I rose through the ranks, deployed and returned, each homecoming sweeter than the last. We bought a house in Colorado Springs, 4 bedrooms, anticipating children that never came. Emily said she wasn't ready. I respected her choice, never pushed. When I was selected for a special operations unit, the deployments became longer, the missions classified. Emily said she understood. "I'm proud of you," she'd say, kissing me goodbye. "I'll be right here waiting." Before my last deployment, 12 months, deep cover operations, I made sure everything was in order, updated our wills, secured our finances, signed trust documents. My sister Catherine, a corporate attorney, helped with the paperwork. "Are you sure about all this, Jay?" she'd asked, eyebrow raised as I signed the documents transferring our major assets into a blind trust under her management. "It's just precautionary," I told her. "If something happens to me over there, Emily will be taken care of, but protected from making emotional financial decisions." Catherine's eyes had narrowed. "And if something happens here?" I'd dismissed her concern. "Emily's my wife, my partner, my home." Catherine had sighed but finalized the documents. "I hope you're right, little brother." 3 days later, I deployed, still believing in the sanctity of those vows we'd exchanged under summer skies. 3 weeks later, Emily began the process of erasing me from her life. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. the increasingly brief video calls, the vague answers about our bank accounts, the new clothes, the changed hairstyle, the gym membership she'd mentioned casually, emphasis on her amazing personal trainer. But I was 12,000 miles away, focused on keeping myself and my men alive in terrain where a moment's distraction meant death. A month into my deployment, my battle buddy Torres forwarded me a message from his wife. "You might want to see this, brother." A video from a mutual friend's birthday party back home. Emily in the background, hanging on a young man I didn't recognize, his hand resting too low on her back, her laughter too intimate. I told myself it was nothing. An awkward moment caught on camera. I trusted Emily. 2 months in, the bank notification. A withdrawal of $15,000 from our joint savings. When I managed to get her on a video call, her explanation seemed reasonable. "The roof needed emergency repairs, babe. Water damage. I didn't want to worry you." I believed her, even when her eyes didn't quite meet mine. Even when she changed the subject to her new fitness routine, courtesy of her trainer Liam. 3 months in, the midnight call from Catherine. "Jay, Emily asked me about the house deed yesterday. Wanted to know if she could refinance." "What did you tell her?" "Nothing yet. But Jay, something doesn't feel right." I dismissed it. She's probably just looking at options. Maybe planning a surprise for when I get back. 4 months in, I couldn't ignore it anymore. The Instagram posts she didn't realize I could see. The credit card statements showing dinners for 2 at restaurants we'd reserved for our special occasions. Hotel charges in cities where she had girls' weekends. I reached out to Mark Reeves, an old Army buddy who'd become a private investigator. Asked him to keep an eye on things. His first report arrived with photos that turned my stomach. Emily and Liam entering our home. Emily wearing the diamond earrings I'd given her for our 5th anniversary. Liam driving my car. "Want me to dig deeper?" Mark had asked. "Everything," I'd replied. "Document everything." By month 5, I had a secured cloud folder filled with evidence. Photos, videos, financial records. Emily and Liam emptying our joint accounts. Emily showing off new jewelry on social media. "Gifts from someone who actually sees me," the caption read. Emily giving Liam keys to my home gym, my man cave, spaces that had been mine alone. And then, the anniversary text. The final confirmation that the woman I'd loved, the woman I'd built my life around, had never truly existed at all. The realization didn't come as a thunderclap. No dramatic moment of sudden understanding. Instead, it settled over me gradually, like the desert dust that coated everything in my world. It happened during a rare moment of quiet. Our unit had set up camp in a hidden valley, waiting for extraction after a grueling 3-day mission. I sat alone, watching the stars emerge in an alien sky, scrolling through the latest update from Mark. Photos of Emily and Liam in our backyard, hosting a party. My friends, people I'd known for years, laughing, drinking my liquor. In one image, Emily wore my combat jacket, the one I'd been awarded after a particularly harrowing mission. She'd turned it into a joke, posing with a toy gun while Liam took photos. Something broke inside me, not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet, final severing of whatever emotional ties had kept me tethered to the idea that there might be something worth salvaging. Torres found me there, still staring at my phone. "You look like a man who's made a decision," he said, sitting beside me. I nodded slowly. "I've been fighting the wrong war." "Meaning?" "I've been trying to understand why. Why she would do this. What I did wrong. How I could fix it." I put the phone away, feeling a strange calm descend. "But that's not the right question." "What is?" "How do I end this on my terms? How do I make sure justice is served?" Torres nodded, understanding in his eyes. He'd gone through something similar during his second marriage. "The best revenge isn't revenge," I finished. "It's justice, cold, calculated, and complete." That night, I wrote 3 emails. One to Catherine, outlining exactly what I needed her to do. One to Mark, expanding the scope of his investigation. And one to my commanding officer, requesting a specific return date that would coincide with the timeline I was constructing. For the first time since receiving that text, I slept without dreams. The next morning, I rejoined my unit with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. The mission had changed, but the objective was the same: victory, at all costs. Over the next 7 months, I built my case with the same precision I'd used to plan a military operation. This wasn't about emotion. This was about strategy. Catherine became my primary asset, managing the legal architecture. The trust we'd established before my deployment had been designed as a safeguard against my death. Now, it became the foundation of Emily's downfall. "She has no idea," Catherine confirmed during one of our encrypted calls. "She thinks she's living off your military pay and the joint accounts. She doesn't realize the house, the cars, everything of value. It's all in the trust now." Mark continued his surveillance, building a comprehensive record of Emily's betrayal, financial malfeasance, property damage, defamation, each offense meticulously documented and time-stamped. "She's planning something big," he reported in month 9, "talking about a destination wedding, Bali or Fiji. She's meeting with travel agents, looking at venues online." "Let her plan," I replied. "Let her dream." Meanwhile, I cultivated relationships with key personnel at the local media outlets. Anonymous tips about the wife who mocked her deployed husband. Hints about a scandal brewing. Building interest without revealing my hand. In month 10, Emily made her move. "She's trying to refinance the house," Catherine reported. "Wants to pull $200,000 in equity. Told the bank it's for home improvements, but I've seen the travel bookings." "Let her get to the final paperwork," I instructed. "Let her think it's a done deal." The timing had to be perfect. I arranged my return stateside to coincide with the closing date she'd set for the refinance. No welcome home celebration, no advance notice. Just the cold precision of justice served at the moment of her greatest confidence. 2 days before my scheduled return, I had Mark contact the local news station. An anonymous tip about a developing human interest story. A decorated soldier returning home to shocking betrayal. The producer bit immediately. "We'll have a crew on standby," Mark confirmed. "Just give the word." The final piece fell into place when Liam's past surfaced in Mark's investigation. A history of targeting wealthy women. 2 previous relationships with married women, both ending once their assets were liquidated. "He's a professional," Mark explained. "Finds vulnerable women, isolates them, then bleeds them dry." "Does Emily know?" "Not yet. But I've made sure the information is ready to be delivered at the right moment." Everything was in place. The legal documents, the media coverage, the incontrovertible evidence. All waiting for the moment I stepped back onto American soil. On the flight home, I felt nothing but a calm certainty. This wasn't about hatred. It wasn't even about hurt anymore. It was about justice, about consequences meeting actions with mathematical precision. I landed at Peterson Air Force Base at 6. By 7:30, I was in Catherine's office, reviewing the final details. "Are you absolutely sure about this?" she asked, concern in her eyes. "Once we start, there's no going back." I looked at my sister, the one person who had never betrayed my trust, and nodded. Emily made her choice. Now it's time for her to face the consequences. At 9, Catherine made the call that would start the cascade. The refinance closing was scheduled for 10 at Colorado Springs Mortgage and Loan. Emily had arrived early, dressed in a new outfit that, according to Mark's records, had cost more than my monthly combat pay. Liam waited in the car, my car, scrolling through his phone while she secured the money for their lavish wedding. I watched from Mark's surveillance vehicle across the street, not out of emotion, but to ensure the operation proceeded as planned. At precisely 9:55, the sheriff's department arrived, 2 cruisers, lights flashing. A news van pulled up 30 seconds later, right on schedule. Through Mark's directional microphone, I could hear the confusion in the loan officer's voice. "Ms. Miller, there seems to be some confusion. According to our records, you don't own this property." Emily's laugh, dismissive. "That's ridiculous. I'm Emily Miller. The house is in the Miller name." "Yes, ma'am, but according to county records, the property is owned by the Miller Family Trust, administered by Catherine Miller. You are not an authorized agent of the trust." The first crack in her confidence, visible even from across the street. "That's impossible. My husband—" "Is this your husband, ma'am?" The loan officer turned his computer screen, showing my military ID photo. "Yes, but—" "Ma'am, we've received notice from the trust administrator. You are not authorized to encumber or refinance this property. Furthermore, I'm required to inform you that the sheriff's department is here with an eviction notice." The color drained from Emily's face as the sheriff entered, documents in hand. "Emily Miller? I'm serving you with notice of immediate eviction from 1478 Mountain View Drive, as ordered by Judge Harlow of the County Circuit Court." The cameras captured every moment. Her shock, her confusion, the slow dawning of realization as her carefully constructed world began to collapse. She stumbled outside, looking for Liam. But he was already pulling away in my car, correction, the trust's car, having seen the sheriff and news crew arrive. The reporter approached, microphone extended. "Mrs. Miller, is it true that you attempted to refinance your deployed husband's home to fund a wedding with your lover?" Emily's face, once so composed, crumpled in real time for all of Colorado Springs to see. "This is a mistake," she stammered. "My husband, Jason, wouldn't—" But I would. I had. The second phase began at 11. As Emily stood shell-shocked on the sidewalk, Catherine arrived with the second set of documents. "Emily," she said, her voice professionally detached, "as administrator of the Miller Family Trust, I'm required to inform you that all joint credit accounts have been frozen pending investigation of unauthorized expenditures. Additionally, the vehicles registered to the trust have been reported stolen and are being recovered by law enforcement." As if on cue, a police cruiser pulled alongside my SUV, the one Liam had just abandoned at a gas station 2 miles away. "This can't be happening," Emily whispered, her carefully applied makeup streaking down her face. "Jason is deployed, he can't—" "Staff Sergeant Miller returned from deployment this morning," Catherine stated, loud enough for the cameras to catch. "He has signed all necessary documents in person." The reporter's eyes widened at this new angle. "The husband is back?" "Where is he now?" Catherine maintained perfect composure. "Staff Sergeant Miller is a decorated combat veteran who has served his country with honor. He will make a statement when he's ready." By noon, the local news was running the story hourly. By evening, it had been picked up by national outlets. The narrative wrote itself. Decorated soldier betrayed while defending his country. Wife and lover attempt to steal his home. Justice served upon his return. Emily's social media accounts, once filled with her celebrations of her new life, exploded with condemnation. The very photos and videos she'd posted mocking me were reshared thousands of times, now with a very different context. Phase 3 began the following morning. Liam, realizing the money train had derailed, sent Emily a text ending their relationship. Mark had ensured a copy was forwarded to my secure server within minutes. "This is too much drama. I'm out. Don't contact me again." By afternoon, Emily had been reduced to calling friends for a place to stay. The same friends who had partied in my home, who had witnessed her betrayal and said nothing. One by one, they declined. "No one wants to be associated with what you did," one former friend texted. "It's all over the news. My husband's in the National Guard. How would it look?" By evening, Emily was checked into a budget motel, using the last of her personal credit card's available balance. The card linked to our joint account had already been deactivated. The final phase would come the following week, in divorce court. But first, I had one more operation to execute. I could have avoided her entirely, could have let the legal system and public opinion finish what I'd started. But something in me needed closure, needed to look in her eyes one last time. I chose the motel parking lot, neutral territory. Mark had confirmed she was inside, had been there for 3 days, leaving only for her shift at a local diner, the only place that would hire her after the news stories broke. I parked my rental car and waited. At 16:45, she emerged, dressed in the black pants and polo shirt of her new employer. The contrast to the designer clothes she'd flaunted just days earlier couldn't have been more stark. She saw me immediately, froze in place, key card half raised toward her room door. "Jason." I stepped out of the car, not in uniform, just jeans and a t-shirt. Nothing ceremonial about this. "Emily." She took a step toward me, then stopped, uncertainty in every line of her body. You're back." "I am." Was this all you? The house, the accounts, the news crews?" I met her gaze steadily. "Actions have consequences." Her eyes filled with tears. Whether genuine or another performance, I couldn't tell. Didn't care to analyze. "Jason, please. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But we can fix this. We can—" "There is no we, Emily. Not anymore." She took another step forward, reaching out. "I still love you. What happened with Liam, it was just physical. It didn't mean anything." I didn't back away, didn't flinch. Just looked at her with the same detachment I'd feel observing a stranger. "It meant something to me," I said quietly. "It meant the end." "Please," she whispered, closing the distance between us. "I have nothing. Nowhere to go. That was your choice." She tried to touch my arm. I stepped back, maintaining the distance. "The divorce hearing is Monday at 9. My lawyer will present a settlement offer that allows you to keep your personal possessions and provides a one-time payment of $5,000 to secure new accommodations." "5,000? Her voice rose, indignation momentarily overcoming her calculated contrition. "After 10 years? After what you did while I was deployed?" "Yes." Her tears came faster now, voice breaking. "What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go?" I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but a distant pity. "That's not my concern anymore." I turned to leave and felt her hand grasp my arm. "Wait! At least tell me why. Why did you do all this? Why didn't you just divorce me like a normal person?" I carefully removed her hand. "Because you didn't just betray me, Emily. You mocked me. You degraded my service. You threw away medals I bled for. You invited others to laugh at my absence while I was fighting for my country." I took a step back. "So yes, I could have just divorced you, but you deserve to experience the same public humiliation you so happily inflicted." She stared at me, mascara streaking down her face. "I never thought you could be so cruel." "I never thought you could either. I guess we were both wrong about who we married." I walked back to my car without looking back. In the rearview mirror, I could see her standing exactly where I'd left her, shoulders shaking with sobs that no longer held any power over me. It was finished. The divorce proceedings were brief. My attorney presented the evidence: financial records, social media posts, testimony from the private investigator. Emily, represented by a court-appointed lawyer after all her assets had been frozen, offered little defense. I chose to wear my full dress uniform, not for theatrics, but because it represented who I was, who I had always been: a soldier, a man of honor, someone who had sworn to defend something greater than himself. Emily appeared in clothes borrowed from a cousin, the only family member who hadn't completely abandoned her. She looked small, diminished. The confident, laughing woman who had sent that cruel text message was nowhere to be seen. The judge, a Vietnam veteran himself, reviewed the evidence with undisguised disgust. The court finds overwhelming evidence of financial malfeasance, emotional cruelty, and breach of marital contract, he stated. The proposed settlement from Staff Sergeant Miller is, frankly, more generous than this court would have ordered under the circumstances. When asked if she accepted the terms, Emily's voice was barely audible. "Yes, Your Honor." Throughout the proceeding, I never once looked at her, never acknowledged her presence. She was a stranger now, someone I had once known but no longer recognized. As the judge finalized the divorce, granting me full restoration of all assets and the symbolic $5,000 payment to Emily, I felt no triumph, no vindication, just a quiet finality, like closing the cover on a book I would never open again. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. Emily emerged first, immediately surrounded by cameras and microphones. I exited through a side door, avoiding the circus, but not before hearing her first broken sob as the reality of her new life fully descended. Catherine met me at my car. "It's done," she said, handing me the final paperwork. "The trust will transfer everything back to your name by the end of the week." "Thank you." I hugged my sister, the one constant through the entire ordeal. "For everything? What will you do now?" I looked past her, toward the mountains that had once represented home. "Transfer to Fort Benning. Fresh start." "And Emily?" I shrugged. Not my concern anymore. As I drove away, I caught one last glimpse of her in my rearview mirror, surrounded by cameras, mascara streaming down her face, calling my name as I disappeared from her life as completely as she had tried to erase me from hers. 3 years later, I sat on the deck of my new home in Georgia, watching the sunset with a quiet contentment I hadn't felt in years. Mark's final report had arrived that morning. Emily Miller, now working as a waitress in a highway diner outside Denver, living in a shared apartment with 2 other women, drowning in debt from the lawyer she'd hired to try to contest the divorce after the fact. Her social media presence had dwindled to almost nothing. The few recent photos showed a woman aged beyond her years, the sparkle gone from her eyes, replaced by a wariness that comes from hard lessons learned too late. Liam had moved on to another target, a divorced real estate agent with a healthy portfolio. But his methods had been exposed during Emily's public downfall. His new relationship had ended quickly when his girlfriend's brother recognized him from the news stories. As for me, I had found my peace, not in the destruction I'd engineered, but in the justice of it, in the knowledge that betrayal had met its consequence, that honor in the end had prevailed. I closed the report and deleted Mark's email, the last thread connecting me to that chapter of my life, severed with a single keystroke. Inside, dinner waited. A quiet evening ahead with a book I'd been meaning to finish. Tomorrow, I would return to base, continue training the next generation of soldiers, men and women who understood concepts like loyalty, honor, commitment. The concepts that had saved me in the end. Not from Emily's betrayal, but from allowing that betrayal to destroy who I was. I had gone to war, but I had come home whole. Not to the woman who had promised to be my harbor, but to the man I had always been, the man I would continue to be. Mission complete indeed. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.